Yo, we've got easily the best day of news that we've had since I've made the Matt Knows Ball podcast. I'm absolutely juiced to get some of this talked about. We've got Micah Parsons demanded a trade this morning, posted a tweet, and it says, "Thank you, Dallas," with the crown and the prayer hands emoji and a lion. Who cares about that? But a lion? And then CD Lamb responds saying, never fails, dog. Never fails. You can tell CD supports Micah here. I am juiced to be talking about this. This is the first bit of NFL news that we've had on to come on here and talk about on the pod. Yesterday, I was juiced about the fact that Terry McLaurin requested a trade, and then I wake up today, I check my phone, and I see Micah Parsons is pissed and wants to allegedly sever ties with the Dallas Cowboys. I can actually read the exact thing that was put out. It says, let me take a look real quick. It says Micah Parsons' relationship with the Cowboys has deteriorated to the point where he's considering a trade request or even a declaration that he is severing his relationship with the team. That is Diana Rossini. The two sides are currently not in contact. And I want to talk about my top 5 locations for Micah Parsons to be traded to. I've been on Spot Rack this morning as soon as I woke up just to see who I think has the cap space and could make it work. I got a honorable mention is Tampa Bay. I think that Tampa Bay could make the cap space work, could make the trade work, and it would be exciting to see him next to Vita Vea having a jolly good time. But we'll get into my top 5 favorite locations for him to go. At 5, I've got the Bengals. I think that this is a weird one because they obviously haven't signed Trey Hendrickson. They'd have to finally spend some money in the organization, or they'd have to trade Trey Hendrickson to make this happen. So I don't really know how the Bengals would go about this. I don't know what they would do, but I think that it would be exciting as hell to see that guy on the same team as Joe Burrow. The Bengals won't do it. They will never do it. But I gotta say, easily the most exciting location he could go to would be the Bengals. But I've got them at 5. At my 4 spot, I've got the Green Bay Packers. The Green Bay Packers have the cap space. They need help on the defensive end, depending on how bought in they are to their young quarterback Jordan Love and their young offense as a whole. You know what I mean? They could be if the Packers got Micah Parsons, in my mind they are immediately a contender to win the Super Bowl. I don't think they are right now because of their defense, and their secondary is not going to be that good. So I if they could get Micah will make that secondary look better. That's for sure. Great pass rush makes everything look better. I'm going to take a quick sip. Number 4, I have the Chargers. I think that the Chargers are one of the more exciting locations he could go to. As somebody who's a fan of a team in the AFC West, fuck that. Please God, no. But I would really, really love to see him go to a team that could contend, not some shitty team. So I got to talk about it. You know what I mean? I got to be unbiased. The Chargers would be an awesome fit for Micah Parsons. Jim Harbaugh's there. Might be John Harbaugh. I don't remember. I think it's John. No, I think it's Jim. Anyway, you've got Jim Harbaugh, obviously. You just let Bosa walk. And I just think, dude, Micah Parsons in the Chargers organization right now, the way that they've been doing things would be awesome to see if you're a Chargers fan, not if you're a Raider fan. But it's not impossible. They have the cap space for it. They have the draft capital for it. I also just saw them talking about signing Keenan Allen, but who gives a shit about that? We'll talk about that when I have less news tomorrow. So the Chargers could be exciting. I think immediately they become a Super Bowl contender if they get Micah. Number 2, I'd have the Patriots. The Patriots seem to be going all in around Drake May. They've got a new revamped receiving core with Stephon Diggs. I like their offensive line touches. I think that they are trying to build towards actually having a real organization. I really like Mike Vrabel there. And I think that if they could trade for Micah, they have the cap space for it. I think they have the most cap space in the league. They could trade for Micah. They also contender for a deep playoff run. I already had them winning 9 games, maybe 8 games. You know what I mean? I have them being in the race, in the mix this year with the revamped offensive line and receiver core. They need help on that defense. Their pass rush is not good. It's terrible. And they have the most cap space in the league. If I'm the Patriots, I'd be offering everything I could. Detroit is my number one team that I would have as a Micah Parsons trade location. I know that they haven't signed Aiden Hutchinson yet. They could make it work. They have a bunch of cap space. They're like second in the league in cap space. I think they have like 50 million in cap. And don't get me wrong, it would be absolutely selling away your team to you'd have to put so much on next year's dead cap and then years after that. And you'd have to make both of their contracts where you just put these contracts off for years and years and years. You'd have to restructure people's contract, but it's worth it. If there was ever a team that it's worth it for, it's the Detroit Lions right here, right now. They lost both their coordinators. Their offensive line looks bad. Their defense is bad outside of Aiden Hutchinson and their safeties. They don't have good corners. Their linebackers are decent. The Lions right now are on the edge of either you could be a team that could be a 10-win team, a 9-win team, and barely scrape by, or you could be an amazing team. And if you trade for Micah Parsons, that immediately pushes you towards, holy shit, are you the best team in the NFL? And if the Detroit Lions had Micah Parsons and Aiden Hutchinson on the pass rush, I would have to say yes. That's the most terrifying shit I could ever imagine in my life, besides him coming to the Raiders, which would be fucking sick. But that's not going to happen. And I'm not going to be a homer and talk about that. But the Detroit Lions, now's the time. If there was ever a time, your franchise was a fucking joke for years. You're finally coming around to being something. Shit. Don't get me wrong. I'm not talking shit, but I'm trying to be real. You know what I mean? As a Raider fan, I can't call a lot of franchises a joke. But the Lions were the biggest joke in the NFL, besides maybe the Jets, for the last 20 years. The team's been fucking terrible since Matt Stafford left. So maybe 20 years was a stretch, but quite a long time. And I'm big on Detroit as like rooting for them. I really love Jared Goff. I really love Dan Campbell. I really love Aiden Hutchinson. And if they added Micah Parsons to that D line, good God, immediately the best team in the NFL. That would scare the living shit out of me as a possibility if I was the NFC North. I would be horrified of the idea of Micah Parsons. I mean, just pick your poison. You can't double team both of them, so good fucking luck. That would be one of the greatest. I mean, it might be the greatest edge rusher pairing of all time. That would be. That's two DPOY level guys on the same team. That's insane. Easily would become the best pass rush in the NFL. Easily would become, in my opinion, the best team in the NFL. Good God. If I was Detroit, the second I saw that Micah Parsons requested a trade, I'm selling my house. I'm trading my car. I'm trading the fucking fax machine. Who gives a shit? I'm trading away everything I can to go get Micah Parsons and maybe some offensive line help. If I'm Detroit, I would have been like, oh, we're gonna run it back this year. You know what I mean? We're gonna see how we can do. The second Micah Parsons became available, I would have immediately called the Cowboys and offered everything I could. That exact second, I would have offered everything I could, and then I would go, all right, fuck it. We're trading for Micah Parsons. We're going all in. What can we trade to get some offensive line help? What can we trade to do this? If I'm the Lions, I'm going all in. I'm saying fuck them picks. You got to go. Now's the time, right? Terry McLaurin also requested a trade, which I'm actually also pretty juiced about. Obviously, not as exciting to talk about as Micah Parsons requesting a trade. I think that the top location, funny enough, for Terry McLaurin is probably the 49ers, even though they just traded away. Or okay. Let me really do the list. So the Niners are on my list. I don't know where, I didn't rank them, but we did 5. The Niners are on my list. It's funny because they just traded Debo over there. But, I mean, don't get me wrong. If I'm the Commanders, I do not want Debo Samuel to be my wide receiver 1. But if Terry McLaurin has places he wants to go, you might have to let him go. You know, if he's not going to play, if he really wants to be traded, you got to trade him. So the Niners would be on my list. As a Raider fan, that sucks. But I think that the Niners would look great with Scary Terry. He would be awesome. I mean, they need a guy on that receiving core because I would not trust Ayuk this year. I would not be trusting Jawan Jennings this year. And I would not be trusting Ricky Pearsall. That trio trying to stay healthy, along with Christian McCaffrey and your old-ass offensive line, yeah. that's scary in terms of trying to stay healthy. So if you could trade for Terry McLaurin and you're the Niners, I would do it. Another great team for Scary Terry to go to would be the Panthers. Just get him some young help, you know. Bryce actually looked pretty good at the end of the year last year. You have Teteroa McMillan. If you could combine and him and Scary Terry, that would be fucking ridiculous. That would be one of the best deep ball, jump ball ass teams in the league. Just a team that you'd hate to play in Madden forever. You know, the Panthers could be fun, but who gives a shit about the Panthers? My Raiders, I think there's actually a pretty solid chance that the Raiders might do this. I don't know, though. I don't know how much Pete Carroll and John Spytek love trading for a 30-year-old wide receiver whose contract wouldn't kick in until he's like 31 or 32. But the Raiders are a great location for Scary Terry to go. I think that would be pretty cool to see. I don't know that it would be the right move, but it would be a cool move. It would be an exciting move. The Patriots again, man. The Patriots could really shake shit up this season and really like make that team something to be scared of. I know they just got Stephon Diggs. I know that they've reworked their receiver core, but damn, if you added Scary Terry to that, him and Stephon Diggs would be an awesome combination of receivers in terms of what they're both good at. You know what I mean? Like a lot of times you get a receiver core where it doesn't match up that well to me. You know, like I don't want to have to sit here and do this off the top of my head and think of one, but there's a lot of receiver cores where it's two guys who do the same shit, like Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. You know what they're both doing. You know what I mean? For the most part. I mean, actually, it would be Teteroa McMillan and Scary Terry, but having a combination of guys of Scary Terry and Stephon Diggs, Scary Terry being your deep threat and Stephon Diggs being your route runner under and coming over the middle, that would be such a fantastic combination for Drake May. I would be so juiced to try and make that happen if I was Drake May or if I was the Patriots. And then the next one I've got on here is Denver, which would really suck for me because I think Denver is going to be fucking awesome this year, which, again, is absolutely atrocious news for me as a Raider fan. But I think Denver is going to be awesome. Denver has the cap space to trade for Terry McLaurin. And, I mean, him and Courtland Sutton would be beautiful. That would be, again, that would be a fantastic, well put together receiver core. Like you have guys who are good at different things and they're both elite. You know what I mean? Like, okay, Courtland Sutton's obviously not elite, but Courtland Sutton is a fantastic route runner. And having him and Scary Terry, who's going to be your deep ball guy, would be a fucking awesome combination. Let me know what you guys think in terms of locations for MICAH or locations for Scary Terry. I'm really super juiced about this. I really hope that both of them get dealt. I don't think either of them actually will. Micah Parsons could make a team the best team in the NFL. He's one of the only guys in the league you could trade to a bunch of teams and you would go, oh shit, that's the team now. That's the team to see. That's the team to beat. Man, I cannot believe that he requested a trade. And the Cowboys are a lot of Cowboys players are on this guy's side. If he gets dealt, the Cowboys are fucked. The Cowboys are super, super fucked if Micah Parsons gets traded. They're done for. Like, they're going to win 4 games if Micah Parsons gets traded. The whole team's going to be pissed. Your defense is going to suck. Your running game's going to suck. You're just going to have receivers and Dak. And just fuck it. Go figure it out, Dak. Dak will throw for 9 million yards and you'll win 5 games. If I'm a Cowboys fan, I'm in shambles right now. I will 1,000% be calling my friend who's a Cowboys fan to talk shit to him very, very shortly. So I'm really excited about these two and their trade locations, where they could go, what teams they could really turn into contenders. We can talk about the Hall of Fame game last night between two teams that I think could use Micah Parsons. The Chargers looked great last night, forced like 4 or 5 turnovers. The Chargers win that game by like 30 points, which I did not see coming, but Trey Lance looked awesome. Future Steeler. I tweeted that out during their game last night. Trey Lance looked awesome in the Hall of Fame game, looked awesome in these preseason games. Aaron Rodgers calls it a career. Trey Lance, you are a Steeler. You are a Brown. give the Browns an 8th quarterback. Trey Lance, you are a jet if Justin Fields doesn't work out. Just, one of those teams that's just a revolving door of quarterback play. Just, oh yeah, they're just dying to see Trey Lance be mediocre in these. I mean, not even mediocre. If Trey Lance looks good in these preseason games, he's gonna get a backup gig somewhere. He's gonna stay in the league. I think that he looked awesome last night. He actually had a underrated pass from him. They did like a PA boot rollout to the right, and they had their tight end. I think it was Will Dissly. And instead of just rifling the ball as hard as he could 40 feet in front of the guy, just a nice little touch. You know what I mean? Just a little touch pat. There's just a little soft drop in the bucket. I feel like that, when I see a quarterback who's good at throwing shit like that, it always gets me hyped. I mean, don't get me wrong. My favorite pass is just a guy who can throw an absolute bullet laser between two, like just a tight window heater. But that was cool to see. I know it's a little stupid pass, and when you watch it, you're gonna be like, okay, that was pretty fucking normal. But seeing a young guy like that who's considered kind of raw and like doesn't really have his skill set ironed out yet, the fact he's developing that, I like to see that, man. A little touch pass matters. You made it easy for the guy to catch it. You put it in the right spot. Another thing Trey Lance did last night that I actually thought was really nice to see was he did an awesome job of putting his passes out of harm's way for the most part. Don't get me wrong, he threw a bunch of shitty goal line fades that went just straight past receivers, but he did a good job on pretty much all of his, like, go ball targets, all of his fade targets, all of his deep ball targets. He did a pretty good job of putting them in a location where, like, his guy has a chance to make a play and the defensive player doesn't. Don't get me wrong, it's not the perfect pass. I think Dan Marino said there's no defense for the perfect pass. And I don't think that he was throwing perfect passes. But he did a good job of putting it in a location where his guy was the only guy who had a chance to make a play on the ball. There was one where, like, the ball hit, like, the very tips of a guy's fingers and it comes off. And it's like, okay, technically that's an overthrow, but that's 1,000 times better than the underthrow. That's 1,000 times better than throwing it to where the DB can make a play on that. I think Trey Lance looked really good. Maybe he just needs a couple years in the NFL to learn from guys. And, Justin Herbert's a hell of a guy to go learn how to throw a football. And Jim Harbaugh is a hell of a guy to learn how to play football from as a coach. I'm not saying that he's going to be starting by any means. We talked about this yesterday. I think he could have thrown 5,000 touchdowns and 40 billion yards and rushed for 3K in this preseason game. It don't fucking matter. I mean, Justin Herbert would have to get shot in the face on the field for them to be starting Trey Lance. But I don't know if you guys saw Gilbert Arenas get arrested for hosting an illegal gambling operation at his house. This is one of the funniest stories I think of the weekend. Gil is fucked. Don't get me wrong, he posted bail, he's out. But I saw Nick Wright talking about this. There were apparently some quote unquote Iranian gangsters at his house, and they were hosting a poker game with, like, basically, to explain this in the simplest way possible, is if me and my girlfriend and my friends and whoever come over and we host a poker game and everybody plays for $50, we could play for $50, we could play for $1 million. It doesn't fucking matter as long as it's just us. But when you have a house that's taking a rake or taking a cut of the pot, then you have an illegal gambling operation. And apparently Gilbert Arenas was hosting these at his house and had, like, a rake, and they had they had catering, and they had allegedly sex workers at the house. You know what I mean? A masseuse on the side, a little Deshaun Watson action. Okay, maybe not Deshaun Watson action, but apparently they had some sex workers and, some catered food, and they were taking money off the top. Gilbert Arenas is fucked, man. That sucks, because Nick Wright was explaining this. The feds aren't looking into poker games. You know what I mean? The feds aren't. There's 100 FBI, or there's 100 illegal games that are taking a cut going on right now. Right now, anyway, at 1 p.m. on a fucking Friday, there's 100 illegal poker games going on in New York City and LA and in Chicago and Detroit, all over the place, man. Everybody plays poker. There's always going to be illegal gambling going on. The feds don't go after that. The FBI is not going after an illegal poker game. You go after that if you're trying to get some information from somebody. They're going to try and get Gil You're not arresting Gilbert Arenas for a poker game unless you're trying to get Gilbert Arenas to give you some information on the quote unquote Iranian gangsters that are at his fucking house. So either Gil's gonna do a bunch of time for no reason over some stupid ass shit like that. Maybe not a bunch of time, but either Gil's gonna serve some time or Gil's gonna give out some information. And that fucking sucks, man. That's a horrible spot to be in. I would hate to be Gilbert Arenas. Hopefully he can lawyer up and get out of it. I like Gil, but what a dumbass thing to do. I get it, but just win the poker game instead. I don't fucking know. Like maybe don't. Also, how the fuck are you letting the feds find out about this? You know what are you doing? I don't know. You know what I mean? Maybe he's just slacking. Mikal Bridges got a fat ass contract extension, 4 years, $150 million. I can't believe that Mikal Bridges is worth that to the Knicks. He's a great player. Don't take it the wrong way. That's not what I mean. Is that he's like some shitter? But holy shit! I mean, you're paying that guy damn near $40 million, like $37, $38 million. Like that's a fuckload of money. That's a ton of money for the third to fourth best player on your team any given night. Not a bad contract. You got to keep Mikal Bridges around, but damn, that guy's worth that. Damn, that's a lot of fucking money for Mikal Bridges. That's a lot of money for a guy who's been really just a 3-and-D player for the last, like, since he came to the Knicks, he's really just been a 3-and-D guy. He's been like shitty Klay Thompson for like 3 years. Don't get me wrong. That, like I said, not the worst contract ever. Not the best contract ever. I don't know if I would give that guy 4 years, 150, but if it made him happy, I'm always on the side of an employee getting more money from the employer. Now, was that the right thing for the Knicks to do? No, but I'm generally on the side of if you want more money from the billion-dollar corporation that employs you. I'm normally pro you, so fuck it. Good for you, Mikal. Way to secure generational wealth by being, honestly, the last couple years, a good, not a great, but a good, and a good solid shooter and a really, really good defender. I think the Knicks have a lot of those guys. I don't know. Hey, that wing defense is scary though. Him and OG, if those guys could both play basketball well at the same time, which historically they have done maybe 0 times ever. It's always one of them with 20 and one of them with like 2 points on 1 for 9. I don't know what that is. If the two of them could actually play together and play well at the same time, that would be cool. I don't know what the fuck's going on there, but again, just to reiterate, I am so juiced about this Micah Parsons, Terry McLaurin news. That was such an man. Yesterday, I was like, fuck, we need some news. I need some shit to go on so I can come on here and yap. We have Daryl Morey. I don't know if you guys saw this. Him talking about, he said his peers don't think the bubble ring was legit. I think this is so funny. A lot of people took it as like him agreeing with them and saying that the bubble ring isn't legit. That is not at all what he said. Nick Wright actually texted him and talked to him about it and then talked about it on their show. Basically, the point was he thinks that the ring was legit. Everybody in the league that he talks to thinks that it isn't. I can't believe that we're still talking about this in 2025. We're almost to 2026. I cannot fucking believe that we're talking about Daryl Morey talking about the bubble ring in the big 2025. But let me tell you something. All of these GMs and people who say the bubble ring doesn't count, let me tell you something right now. And this is a guaranteed 100% lock. I'm not a LeBron James guy. If LeBron lost that year, that ring would fucking count. Let me tell you that right now. If LeBron lost, that would be, if LeBron lost that ring, it would be nothing but he was the 1 seed, he was on the best team, and he fucking lost. And there would be no excuse. There would be 0 excuses of them not having their home court advantage that they should have had. There would be none of that. There would be no they would be like they had extra rest and they played in a bubble and LeBron choked or some shit. If LeBron lost that shit, I guarantee you that ring would count. I guarantee it. Charles Barkley guarantee. If LeBron lost that fucking championship, that would have 1,000,000% been like a a huge mark on his legacy. Like, you had Anthony Davis and you fucking lost. How could you do that? What is wrong with you? You suck. That's all that would be talked about 24/7. We are still talking about it right now, but we would definitely still be talking about it. If LeBron, well, I don't, what is he at now? 4-6, which sucks. But if he was 3-7, and one of those was in the bubble where they would be like, he had the easiest path. He had to play Damian Lillard and fucking, I don't even remember who all they. Oh yeah, they got to play the Nuggets. That was easy. You know, you lost to the Heat, pussy. Like there would be no excuses made for that. It would be nothing but, yeah, that was the hardest fought ring ever for Jimmy Butler. That's all it would be. Like, Jimmy had to play no home games, even though they didn't have home court advantage in any of those series except for maybe the first round. Like, get the fuck out of here, bro. If LeBron lost that chip, that would be nothing but slander. And I'm not a LeBron guy. I mean, I think he's the GOAT, but I'm not a LeBron fan. I try to look at basketball pretty objectively. The ring fucking counts. What are we doing? Like, if anybody else participated in that championship, it would be thought of as like the most hard. If Giannis won that shit, coming off his MVP season, if Giannis won that fucking ring, oh my God. It was the hard. He lost his home court advantage. He dragged his team to the finals. It was one of the most impressive seasons ever. It was so hard fought. He didn't have any fans. He missed his family. He missed his wife. He didn't get to hit the freak bell or whatever the hell he has. You know what I'm talking about? The freak button that he has. And like, we all know that this would be a completely different narrative if it wasn't LeBron at the end of the day. Little shit that I don't really care about talking about too much. I was going to use this for tomorrow's podcast, but am I really going to lead with Keenan Allen potentially going back to the Chargers? No. Who gives a shit? Whatever. Okay, fuck it. Keenan Allen, you're a Charger, I guess. Cool location for him to go. They need receiver help, I guess. Quentin Johnston sucks. And their white guy whose name I can't remember is awesome. Shit, that's actually kind of embarrassing. I can't remember his name. Lad McConkey. He's awesome. The rest of that receiving core is trash. I mean, yeah, I'm sure they could use more talent on the receiving core. I don't think that will that stop Justin Herbert from throwing 4 picks in a playoff game? Probably not, but I'm hoping for improvement from Justin Herbert. I like that guy. Fuck the Chargers, but I do like that guy. Justin Herbert seems like just a chill dude. You know what I mean? If Keenan Allen going back to the Chargers makes him happier, then I'd sign him in a heartbeat. I wouldn't be worried about him, though. I'd be worried about Micah Parsons. But Keenan Allen might go back to the Chargers. LeBron, that's a bad look. That was not my best facial expression right there. I'll make that the thumbnail. Also, Red Zone, I think, is going to ESPN now. Scares me a little bit. It's my favorite thing to watch. Red Zone is the shit. Everybody I know loves Red Zone. If Scott Hansen, is that his name? That's not the guy from the Predator show. No, that's Chris Hansen. I think it's Scott Hansen. If Scott Hansen gets like fired for some reason, I'll never watch that show again. I love Red Zone. We stand in solidarity with Scott Hansen. If that dude doesn't, hopefully that's the right name, and I'm not talking about some random fucking dude, but if that dude doesn't stay around, I speak as the NFL collective. We all tuning out. We not fucking watching Red Zone no more. Yeah, just that's really all I got on that. I mean, Red Zone to ESPN could be cool. Whatever. Hopefully it doesn't become some stupid ass ESPN Plus exclusive that I have to fucking. It'll probably be a pay-per-view in 3 years and make me want to kill myself. But that's whatever. Honestly, great pod. Shout out to the energy drink because I just woke up. I got off work at 5. I started recording this at like 12:30. We are looking good. I'm going to go play basketball. I will. I'll talk to you guys later. You know what I mean? Sub, please. I know nobody got to this point in the podcast, but I'm pretty juiced. I'm pretty fucking hyped up. Yeah, man. Sub. Tell me in the comments where you want Micah Parsons to go. Tell me in the comments where you want Terry McLaurin to go. Tell me in the comments if you care about Keenan Allen going to the Chargers or Trey Lance looking awesome, because who actually gives a fuck? I'm out.